Is there anybody more weak than Leo Varadkar? This guy is the gift that keeps on giving, but not in a good way. This guy isn't a comedian. This guy isn't an entertainer. This guy is in charge of Ireland. And we're going to react to a video today. We're going to react to a few videos. We're going to react to Leo uh, with during the leaders' questions in the Dáil being asked about the women's uh, concerns. The women's concerns were put forward to him about what the women of Ireland are saying. Forget the name of the lady that asked. I think Marion, somebody you call her. We'll get her name in just a little minute. Then we're going to talk about the protests in France, because France is basically frozen. It's basically just in lockdown. I seen a video where they're shooting cow manure slurry through an open window of some parliament building or what, a government building, and it's been shot right in the boarded off all the buildings, and then they shot slurry through an open one that they forgot to lock. And the farmers at the minute are completely got that place in lockdown. And I have to agree, because something has to give here. The farmers in Ireland, I don't know if it's by the time this video comes out, something could have happened, but I do know the farmers in Ireland are mobilising. They're going to certain areas. They're going to go on strike, and it could turn out like France. And I'm here in England could do the same thing, and other countries in Europe could be doing the same thing. So there's mass strikes in regards to what's happening to the farmers. They're really targeting the farmers at the minute. I want to understand that a little bit more, so we'll get into that. And then I want to react to a Tommy Robinson video that is seen on YouTube, where Tommy was at a protest in Germany, and he gets talking to the crowd after there was multiple people wounded in Germany, raped, abused by people coming into the country via migration, and there was people protesting in the streets, and Tommy was there reporting on it. We're going to react to what he says to the people of the march, the protest, and his confrontation with the media, the mainstream German media. Very, very interesting stuff. So that's the three topics we're going to be doing today. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember, smash the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, uh, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you share. These videos will get no growth, zero growth. That's why they took away my last channel, because it was able to grow. Now the algorithm has all changed in YouTube, so make sure you share. That's the only way my channel is going to grow, if you share. And yeah, if you're watching this on X or Rumble, make sure you jump over to my YouTube and subscribe and hit that notification bell, just to purely fight against censorship. That's all I want. That's why I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you can do that, that would be fantastic. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you head over to my free speech platforms, Rumble and X, where you're going to get my uncensored opinion. You can follow me on Instagram and all too. All the relevant handles for those free speech platforms are found in the description. Go over and follow me there, guys. So the first video we're going to react to is of the Dáil, right? And this is fascinating stuff. I watched this last night, right? And I couldn't believe it. I've said to myself, I have to react to this. You have to see this. If there's people not from Ireland to understand Leo Varadkar, this guy is the epitome of woke, and he runs Ireland. He is the epitome of woke, and the hypocrisy in that is he's allowing mass immigration into Ireland. A lot of them are good. There's good people coming in. I'm not against immigration. I'm for economic immigration. Every country needs it. You would be an idiot if you don't understand how that works. Ireland's been doing that for quite a time now. England have been doing it for quite a time now. Most countries do that. You need that to keep the country going, and you just need to accept that. But we're not talking about them. We're not talking about the good people from coming all around the world to live in Ireland, to experience Ireland. We go off the other countries and we live in those countries. That's good economic growth. But what's happening at the minute is the Irish culture and the Irish heritage is being eroded around us. There's mosques going up left, right, and centre. It seems like Christianity is being attacked every single day. While if you even bat an eyelid at Islam, or even point out, how this is, Sharia law, connected to Islam, how this is pretty bad, and there's 150 jihadists in Ireland. You stop being a racist, sir. What are you talking about? But they can criticize you if you're a Christian. So there's a massive attack on Christianity. You know my feelings about that. I think it's because Christianity is the one true religion. It's the one true belief system. Why would the devil attack anything else? Be counterproductive. It would be a waste of his time. That's the way I see it. But I respect everybody's opinion. But we're going to react to Leo Varadkar now. This guy was asked questions from a lady that was concerned. She was speaking on behalf of the public, and his reaction to this is priceless. This is the epitome of woke, and he's a hypocrite because he's allowing people into the country. And to finish my point, he's allowing people into the country that have came from heavy Sharia law countries that see women as second-class citizens, that want women to cover. We're seeing a lot of sexual assaults. The reason for that is, I'm just going to tell you, a lot of these boyos are coming from places where women are fully covered. They're coming over here. Our women are able to be free and just dress however they like. These men can't control themselves, so they're sexually attacking them because they don't know any other way than Sharia law, so they're going to attack them. And even with the boyos that are coming from other countries that aren't with Sharia law, it's completely different cultures. A lot of different cultures that don't have Sharia law, for instance, Bulgaria and certain other countries around the world, women are second-class citizens. Women don't understand how good they have it in Ireland and England and the West. That's why I could never understand the feminists' argument over here. The patriarchy. Go and live in Dubai. Oh, it's good, nice weather. Yeah, let's see how you get on whenever you've got a bikini on the beach. 50 years in prison or some mad shit. Or why don't you go to another country and just try to walk freely down the street at night? See how that goes on. Every country has its bad points. You're always going to get bad men and bad women that like to do bad things. But as it stands, Ireland, England, and the West, and these heavy Western countries, it's the safest it's ever been in human civilization. And you're not going to get any safer. And it became that safe that we've become complacent, and we've allowed people in from other areas of the world that are radical, and they see women as second-class citizens. They don't see women on a daily basis wearing normal clothes, and they get sexually aroused. And some of these people can't control their urges, and they sexually assault these women. And that's what it is. That's what it is. Imagine you locked up in a prison as a bloke. Any blokes watching this here, imagine you locked up in a prison for 15 years. You're not seeing any women. Next minute you go into a place and there's just women everywhere. I'm not saying I would act on those urges. I probably wouldn't, because I've got self-control. But some men don't have that self-control. Some men are brought up differently. And a lot of these people, I'm not saying that they were born evil. Everybody's was a baby at one stage. But they come from a country where, sex crimes aren't maybe considered crimes. Yeah, well, I'm a man. I can take what I want. I worked with a guy from Bulgaria who told me whenever he was at home that he could just take whatever woman he wanted, and there was nothing said about it. The woman didn't even have a choice. So there's that. You need to accept that as a fact. This isn't racist. This isn't bigot. This is talking about cultural differences, and these are the problems you're going to get with multiculturalism. But then whenever you have a leader like Leo Varadkar, who doesn't want to acknowledge the cultural differences. You see, I don't want to come across racist myself. I don't want to point out the obvious to you here, but do you know what I mean? You've got Leo Varadkar, who, I'm looking into Leo a wee bit. He went to a Catholic school, then he went to a private Protestant school. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things that are going on here that, Leo's an Irishman. I'm always going to respect him as an Irishman, but he isn't seeing what's happening on the ground. And if he is seeing what's happening on the ground and he's not doing anything about it, then that means he's owned by Europe. And if he's owned by Europe, then we need to vote Leo out ASAP, because he's actively destroying Ireland. And anybody that speaks up about this has been called a racist and a bigot. And we haven't even got onto the fact of what they're teaching kids in school in regards to sex education. Because if Leo's linked in with Europe, you need to understand what they're teaching kids in Europe. These, in my opinion, they're pedophiles. They're pedophiles that have created this handbook to sexualize children. And if he's linked in with Europe, you better bet your bottom dollar this will all be implemented into the schools very, very soon, worse than what it already is. And it gives these woke, dead ass teachers the license to corrupt your child's mind. And there's no other way of saying that. That is the truth. That's the way it's going to be. And if you're a far left liberal with children, I feel sorry for your children. They're not going to grow up in a good world, and you're a disgrace as a parent. That's it. So let's get into the thing now. I'm rambling. Let's see what Leo has to say in regards to the concerns of the women of Ireland.
I just want to raise one issue with you. The national conversation, and it's a difficult one, but it's the national conversation around single men who are seeking asylum and the specific situation whereby some communities have said they will welcome and integrate families but not groups of single men. Now, the knee-jerk reaction is this is unacceptable, it's racist, these are far-right tropes. But I'm asking for a little bit of reflection and to cast your mind back just 2 years ago when thousands of visceral statements from so many Irish women followed the horrific murder of Aisling Murphy. There is no evidence, zero evidence, none, that they pose any greater threat than 80 Irishmen.
Absolute lies. Anyway, this woman's trying to be too nice. She's speaking on behalf of the women of Ireland, but she's trying to be nice, saying the statistics don't show. Well, the statistics can't be ready yet. But what we're seeing on the streets of Ireland is men not of this country attacking women. You know, Aisling Murphy would still be here if that guy wasn't here. That guy had been deported years ago, and he wasn't here. She would still be here. So a person not of Ireland murdered Aisling Murphy, and if something had been done about him before, she would still be alive. She'd be getting married, and she'd be a happy woman in Ireland. To say that you're considered racist, that's not race. That there's nothing in that about race. It was a cultural difference. The guy was here. He paid. I know he worked for a couple of years, built up enough to get the dole or something in Ireland. But he didn't. I don't want to misquote who he was, but he didn't work for a good considerable period of his life. And then he killed an Irish woman as she was out jogging. So if he wasn't here and the government had done their job, Aisling Murphy would still be alive. So she's being too nice here. How does she know the statistics? We don't know the statistics. We don't even know the statistics of sexual assault within our own country with Irish on Irish crime, because a lot of sexual assaults go unreported because women feel abused and they feel ashamed and things like that. So you're never going to get the true statistics. But the trial hasn't been done yet. Ireland's been multicultural for a while, but it's only the past lot of years that we've been allowing radical jihadists into our country. As I say, there's 150 plus. That could be 1,000, 150 plus jihadi terrorists that reside in Ireland, allowed in by Leo Varadkar's government. So what I'm trying to say is they're armed with Sharia law. They're armed in the warfare. They see women as second-class citizens, and then you've got the fringe of that also agree with them. They mightn't be active jihadists, but they agree with the jihadists' ideology. So then you're bringing men in, as I said before, that come from countries with Sharia law or a different culture, and they see women as second-class citizens. So when they see a woman in their country where women are all covered up or they have to cover up, when they come into Ireland and women are just free with their boobies hanging out, to think to themselves, I want a piece of that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, and that's not racist to point out cultural differences. And this is the problem with the political class in Ireland. They're so far up their own hole that they can't see the sunshine here. They can't see what's really going on. So this woman's being far too nice because Leo's sitting there with probably a smug look on his face. I wouldn't be as nice.
But many women have said to me, and I believe them, that they would say the same thing about 80 Irishmen in the same circumstances.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. There's a lot of Irishmen that commit sexual crimes and commit crimes. Of course there is. That would be stupid to say that they don't. But no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. They just wouldn't. I'm going to call out bullshit and what she said there. They're pointing out the cultural differences, and there's a lot of women in Dublin can't go out for a night out without being sexually harassed by the migrants being brought in by Leo Varadkar and his government. Do you know that's what's being said here?
Taoiseach, I'm not saying there's no racism involved here. We all need to question ourselves, but this heightened concern is real. So I'm just asking you, I'm asking you to listen.
Look at that geezer there. He's sleeping. Look at him. He's sleeping. Do you see him? He's sleeping. He doesn't give one fiddler's what she's saying. He's going to get up now and call her all the names of the day in a political way. Like, look at this guy here. Look at this guy. This is your leader of Ireland being given questions and concerns of the women of Ireland. And this fella couldn't even be bothered to give her eye contact because he doesn't care. Look at this fella. Look at him. Look at the hack of him.
To engage and to believe. I'm asking you to have the debate, warts and
He's
all.
not going to have any
I have
debate.
to be honest with you, I am quite disappointed in the question you asked, and I can see the face.
He's disappointed in the questions that she asked, and she didn't really ask any questions apart from will you have the debate. So he's hurt. He's disappointed to be asked about having a debate. This is what these woke radical ideologists do. They make you feel bad for even asking them a question. Sir, there's a lot of people coming in here from radical countries under a radical Sharia law or a different culture. Our women are being raped, assaulted. Some men are being assaulted in the streets. These people are given hotels and an allowance while there's people sleeping on the streets dying. Irish people sleeping on the streets dying, along with other foreign nationals sleeping on the streets dying. But there's a certain selection of young men that you're favouring here. Why is that? And why aren't you here to protect women? You shouldn't be asking those questions. You're wrong. You're actually far right and a racist for asking those questions. That's the type of geezer he is. If every day goes by, his Irishness erodes, and I mean that. I don't want to take it away from that he's an Irishman, but every day goes by, a little bit more of his Irishness erodes, and he turns more into a European puppet. He's morphing into a frog with all those little gold stars on his back and a blue flag. This geezer here is anti-Irish. That's what he is.
Of many people around this house who I think agree with me.
Look at that woman in the background with the green on her. Look at the face in that. As if she goes to the same places as the migrants go to. This woman in the background here probably drinks 150 euro bottles of wine average just on a night. Do you know what I mean? Just have a wee bottle of wine here. She's not going to the places. She's not in the places where these migrants are hanging out or whatever. This is the political class you're seeing here. This is the political class.
I think the killing and the death of Aisling Murphy was one of those events that really touched the nation. I remember it so well. And I remember the outpouring of grief for that young woman who was killed in the way she was. And I remember the anniversary only a few weeks ago. And I really think to connect that to a debate about international protection and migration is really wrong. Really wrong.
Sure, that's how you come about with a debate. If your countrymen and your countrywomen are being attacked in their own country by people not of that country, or or maybe they came from a different culture and maybe they've been living here for a while, that's an indication that there's certain people coming in that are a threat to your own people. So that activates a debate. But you will deviate that debate by saying you're racist. And this woman here, this thing here in the background, she doesn't want to know.
The evil person who killed poor Aisling Murphy was an EU citizen, had been in the country for the best part of 10 years, working and paying.
EU citizen, but they weren't Irish, were they? They weren't Irish.
Taxes. That's how he acquired his rights to social welfare and other
10 years. He worked here for 10 years. I don't think that's right, was it? I think he wasn't working for 10 years, I believe.
Things. And sadly, he turned on that girl for whatever reason he did and killed her. But to connect that to international protection and refugees coming to this country, whether they're genuine or not, it's really wrong, Deputy. Like, really, Deputy, don't.
You're really wrong, Leo. You're really wrong on this with your smug look on your face and your sodium cheeks. You're really wrong on this, my friend, because that's a direct link to the people that are coming in. And it's not just directed at Islam, because there's beautiful Islamic people that live in Ireland that are fantastic people. Most of my barbers are Muslims. I had a conversation with a barber, and he says you just need to, he converted to Christianity, and there's another one who's an atheist, and he says don't let them in. He says that, and the things that he was coming out with, he goes, Ronan, if I was you, he says, don't be saying any of the things I'm about to say to you. He says, but don't be letting them in. He goes, because they're disgusting. They see you as a second-class citizen. They will completely plague your country, and you won't even have a say. He goes, trust me in that. He goes, it's the, you know, and I'm not even pointing out who he was speaking about, because I don't want any of the point. Actually, I don't give a fuck who points the finger at me, to be honest with you. Say whatever you want. I don't care. But you know, we're being told here, and this geezer here, he doesn't care because he's not there. He's wrapped up in his nice warm house and his nice, his nice European money, his Monopoly money, playing Monopoly with your lives. That's what he's doing. And look at the look in her face, as if you've done something wrong. Imagine being in that room and you're giving out concerns of what the public are saying to be met by that look. These people need to be voted out. Leo Varadkar should not be in power of anything. But something tells me, even if you take this geezer out of power, he's like the Irish version of the deep state. He's always going to have his little hand in something that's going to be detrimental to Ireland. These people need to be kicked out ASAP. Do something, Ireland. We need to do something here, because this isn't good. And all we're asking for is a heavy vetting process. That's it. We need them vetted. They don't want that, because most of them that are coming in probably do have a severe criminal history. And what does that do? That makes the everybody look at them. All the foreign men and women that come here, especially the foreign men, a little bit different. Now we tar them all with the same brush, but there could be good, decent folk in that there, and we're going, and that person could be tarred with a bad brush here. All we need is a good heavy vetting process. Fuckers like this don't want to do it because they're letting in. They want that in. That's what they're doing.
Bring our country down into that spiral. Please don't.
I'm disappointed that you didn't respond to the real concerns that I hear from people. And this is dividing people. I won't close my ears. And I expect this House, as the House that represents the people of Ireland, to take this on.
Glad you won't close your ears, but you got one thing wrong there. This House does not represent the people of Ireland. This is a corrupt political organisation, and they're pushing communism, and they're trying to bring in radical jihadists to help them push that communism. And that's what it is. I don't care what anybody says.
Board. We can't just have the one narrative. We can't just have only one perspective.
Thank you.
I never said Taoiseach, and I said 3 times.
You shouldn't have even said it once. You shouldn't give a fuck what he says to you. You go in there, as a strong woman, you go in there as a strong man, grab your nutsack, look him straight in the eye and say, Leo, it's over, kid. It's over. You're corrupt. Point the finger right in his face and say, see you're corrupt and you're going down. What you've done to Ireland over the past couple of years is nothing but shocking. You're corrupt. You're a European puppet. And I'm going to make it a mission that you never have any power over any Irish people ever, in wherever that may be. I'll make sure if there's a population of Irish people in Australia that you don't even have power over them either. You corrupt piece of shit. But I would say it more politically. That's what you need to say to him. Fuck all she worries about what Leo thinks of her. Fuck what Leo thinks of you. What I think of Leo's corrupt. He's a puppet of Europe, and he's corrupt. And that, you point the finger right in his face and say, Leo, you're corrupt. And you spread misinformation and disinformation. That's what your job is.
There's no evidence,
We're way over time.
none,
We're way
to
over
suggest,
time.
but the Taoiseach
We're
is
over time.
There's plenty of evidence to suggest it. You just have to look in the streets. You just have to look at the people who are being raped and murdered to suggest it. Not just in Ireland and Germany and all over. That would be enough evidence for me.
Yes, but he didn't take his time. He didn't feel it was important enough to respond to me last.
Because he doesn't care what you think. He's pushing the narrative. He wants the narrative that anybody speaks up against the government is racist and bigoted. He doesn't care about you, and he doesn't care about anybody else apart from his political party pushing the European NWO narrative. That's what it is. There's no getting away from it now. The cat is out of the bag. That's what it is. If you don't know already, sorry to tell you, this is what it is. It's happening all over the world. You're seeing it in America too. Open borders, letting every fucker in and his mum. Let them all in. There was a person caught at the border the other day saying, Americans, wait until you see me. Wait until you see me. And he wasn't saying that in a good way. He wasn't going to be an Elvis Presley impersonator. This motherfucker was a jihadist. He was a jihadist. And that's why he doesn't care what this lady thinks. He doesn't care what you think. That's why it's very important to vote them out, because there's going to come a stage where you're not going to be able to vote them out because they're going to corrupt the voting system. Right now, there's probably political corruption in regards to the votes in Ireland, I would say so, but you need to vote them out now before it's too late.
And I feel that by his response...
Thank you. We're way over time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sadly, people from all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of genders and all sorts of races and religions and colours commit crimes. But to conflate crime and violence against women in particular with migration, I think is profoundly wrong.
Sure, it's directly linked to that, Leo. It's directly linked to that. And I've laid out the reasoning for it. A lot of these men that come from these different countries, we'll use Sharia law for an example, but there's other countries that don't have Sharia law. It's just cultural differences that come over here and see the freedom that women have. Women running down the road, like Aisling Murphy, probably wearing tight leggings and not being revealing, but, you know, an attractive lady. They can't help themselves. They're, you know, that's not even bad on their part. That's just where they've came from. Or maybe it could be just bad men like to do bad things. There's that too, and there's bad Irish men that do things, and I'm not going to say that Irish men don't. There's probably a lot of Irish men that do bad things, but there's a lot of sexual assaults from migrants in Ireland at the minute. There was that lady, the migrant walked right into her hospital ward and started whacking off at the foot of her bed while she was recovering from surgery. This is a direct result of the migration policies Ireland hold here. To say that that's racist or bigoted or you're disappointed in that questioning means that you are pushing a narrative. If you don't want to debate this with people who are very well rehearsed on this subject, it means that you're corrupt. And that's what he's showing here. He's showing how corrupt he is, and you need to know that.
Profoundly dangerous. Yes, you did, Deputy. Yes, you did, Deputy. Yes, you did, Deputy. And in relation to...
Deputy, please. Let the Taoiseach respond. Deputy, let the Taoiseach respond.
Deputy, in relation to your remarks about me, I have engaged in this debate. I probably engage in it every other day in my constituency, in this house, and in this media.
Remember what he said there. He engages in this topic every other day. So he's briefed on all the incidents that happened around Ireland, and he's still not doing anything about this. All we're asking for is a heavy vetting process, which will also stop a certain migration of people coming in here, because if they know that there's a heavy vetting process, they're not going to attempt to come in. So there's people all around the world thinking, right, where's the easy country to get into? Well, Ireland's open borders. You can just go in there. As long as you're in there, they'll give you a house, they'll give you an allowance. But I'm a rapist and a criminal record. Doesn't matter. They don't really care, because Leo Varadkar loves you. Right, we're going there. That's where we're going. If you have a heavy vetting process and that fellow who's a rapist or a criminal or a murderer turns around and says, well, we can't go to Ireland because it's got a heavy vetting process. You can't be a rapist to get into the country. You have to have a passport to get in. You have to have identification to get in. It's only very special circumstances will they let you in without any of the identification certificates. That's going to inhibit bad people coming from the country. This is very basic things that countries need. But no, if you say that there, you're a racist.
Only a few weeks ago, I wrote a detailed article published in the Sunday Independent, setting out what our immigration policy is and was, what the facts were and what they were not. And I'll keep doing that. But I need a bit of help. I need a bit of help from people in this house oh, you're not.
They're trying to help you, Leo. The woman just said it. We're giving you the feedback from the street. And here you are, not even wanting to have a conversation about it. This is new information. You might be briefed with your fucking that woman in the back with the green. She looks like she could, you know, this woman here in the back looks like she couldn't brief a person on a child's birthday party. Do you know what I mean? You're being briefed with the wrong information, my friend. You're not living in the real world here. This is corruption. What you're saying.
Not. Sorry, Ken. Sorry.
Look, that's it. Look, he just doesn't want to have the conversation. He's actually disappointed that he was asked these questions, and that's actually gaslighting her. What I'm noticing there from Leo is he's gaslighting that woman. What you have to say is wrong. Even though you're telling me facts about what the people are saying on the street of Ireland, I don't want to hear, because this is racist and this is bigoted. He's gaslighting that woman, thinking that she's crazy for even asking the questions. What you're actually witnessing here is real misogyny. That's real misogyny, not some geezer walking down the street with a tracksuit and a bottle of Bucky in his hand. This is real misogyny here, gaslighting a woman that's came in here that said, here is the women's issues coming from the streets. You're wrong. You're wrong, and you're racist, and I can't believe you even asked that question. You know, making her feel bad for even asking the question. That's gaslighting. That's real misogyny, what you're witnessing there. France is burning. The people are in a revolution, and the farmers are being hit really, really hard. The farmers have stood up. They're standing their ground. There's farmers being arrested in France at the minute, and it's absolutely crazy what's going on in France. France is in lockdown. Now, what I will say is, for any of these, the climate change people that come in here, for any of the people that are for the not the sanctions on the farmers, but all the restrictions put upon the farmers in regards to agriculture, fertilizer, we're going to read a brief explanation on why this is actually happening, why the French farmers are protesting like they are. I've seen a video where they were shooting slurry through an open window in some government building, and they were just covering the place in like all the feces of the day, and they were like driving into McDonald's with bales of rotten silage and putting them in, and it was just absolutely crazy. So they're up in arms about something. What I will say to you is this: I don't know fully what this is about. We're going to read into it now. You're going to get my initial reaction to this, but the West in general is going for this net zero thing. And there's a lot of these climate change people that are pushing for this too. But what they don't understand is that England and Ireland and America and France and all these countries don't produce. They produced very little compared to like China. So while we're pushing for net zero carbon emissions, China's burning away. China's in full flow. I'm not going to get into the science about climate change. I'm not going to do that because it stirs people up a little bit. I have my own theories in that. I might do an exclusive to Rumble on my theories on climate change and why certain things are being pushed, because there's certain facts that I can't say here. But it's that, and I do believe France was going to take away a tax break from fuel like diesel for farmers, which would mean that they would have to pay full price for fuel. So the people that are feeding France, the people that are feeding lots of Europe, will have to pay more for fuel. We should be looking after these people. We should be thanking these people for day in, day out hard work, growing the crops, harvesting them crops, looking after the animals, giving us the meat. These people need to be cherished and respected, but no, not under the new European guidelines. We have to go for net zero here. So the prices of everything rise through the roof. Inflation goes sky high. We suffer with prices that we pay in the supermarkets for food, and then on top of that, what the big supermarkets are doing, they're even inhibiting the farmers from raising their prices, because they'll say, well, what we'll do is we'll not buy it from you, we'll buy it from a different country. So you're stopping the local farmers from actually selling their food. So you're raising the prices of everything that they buy. They grow the crops, they have to raise their prices, and but they have to sell it to the supermarkets at maybe the same price, because if they don't, then the supermarkets will go elsewhere to a country that doesn't have those sanctions, that doesn't have those restrictions. Do you see the hypocrisy? Do you see what I just said there? So other countries don't have those restrictions. We're told we're all bad for liking our meat and liking to drive our cars. But what the supermarkets are doing, they're pointing the finger at you, and the governments are saying you're bad, you shouldn't be doing this. But when it comes down to the hard business of it, when it actually comes down to the business of it, they're hypocrites, because they'll just buy it off a country that doesn't have these regulations, but at the same time implementing those regulations into their own country while basically starving their own people. Do you understand? It's ludicrous. They're psychopaths. That's what this is. And the French farmers, the Irish farmers, the British farmers, the farmers from all around Europe are feeling the brunt of this now, and they've had enough. And it's not just France that's up in arms about this, it's most of Europe, and rightly so, because this is a massive pushback to the psychopaths that run most of Europe. So let's jump over now and let's read an article on the base of why they're protesting. Why are farmers protesting in France and other parts of Europe? French farmers blocked major highways in Paris on Monday as they pursue protests over a range of grievances, despite several measures announced by the government, because the government are just giving them little pennies back, considering what they've been taking. Here are some of the issues that have prompted the protests movement and what the government could do next. Well, the government needs to come to its senses and stop working for the psychopaths in Europe. Why are farmers protesting? Farmers in France, the EU's biggest agricultural producer, say they are not being paid enough and are choked out by excessive regulations and environmental protection. That's the net zero thing. It's absolutely killing farmers at the minute, because they're told we have to bring down our carbon emissions. You're a really, really bad person for being a farmer. So the farmers go, okay, right, that's okay. So they try their best to do that. They get down to a certain level. Then the prices of their products that they need to grow the crops, they are all inflated. So obviously the farmers have to up the price of the products that they're selling. So whenever they go to the government and they go to the supermarkets, they're met by, well, we'll just get this from elsewhere because they're too dear. So they're expecting the farmers to pay more, but sell the products at the same price. And at the same time, the supermarkets and the governments urge or will go to other countries that don't have these regulations to buy the products. So it's like hypocritical, the whole situation. The government, what you're witnessing here is a hypocritical government and a hypocritical leadership in Europe. This is what I'm telling you about psychopaths. They're gaslighting the whole of Europe. You just need to wake up to this. Some of the concerns, like competition from cheaper imports and environmental rules, are shared by producers in the rest of the EU, while other issues such as food price negotiations are more specific to France. Costs. Farmers argue that a push by the government and retailers to bring down food inflation has left many producers unable to cover high costs for energy, fertilizer, and transport. A government plan to phase out a tax break for farmers on diesel fuel as part of the wider energy transition policy was also a flashpoint. Now think about that. These farmers are working day in, day out. They need the fuel. They need the fuel more than the army needs the fuel to run their jets. They need the fuel more than NASA and all the rest. Farmers need the tax break on that. If they don't get the tax break, then it's they'll just stop farming, and then nobody's going to have food. It's like they want to plunge Europe into full-on communism, where everybody's going to get a little plot of land. You're throwing a couple of seeds every month. Grow your food. We're going to come back in a month to check on you. And if you're dead, you're dead. If you're not, you're not. The rats can eat you. That's what this is a push for. But at the same time, the supermarkets will go to other countries that aren't regulated and buy their products to sell to European countries. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you going for net zero? There's China doesn't care. Other countries don't care, but we're told we're the bad ones, and we actually had a bit of a hold on the emissions that we were releasing into the atmosphere. You know, as I say, I'll not get into a debate about that. What I will say to you is, for anybody worried about climate change and anybody worried about certain things, please don't worry. That's all I'm going to say. Please don't worry your little cotton socks. You'll be 100% fine. And these farmers are pushed into inflating their prices, obviously, because they need to make a profit. But the supermarkets aren't buying them. So it's like, well, you put all these restrictions on us. We have to raise our prices to grow these crops for you. Now you're saying we can't even raise our prices. What are you doing to us? So obviously there's a protest combined with the tax, the phasing out of the tax break for fuel, and the net zero thing for emissions. It's absolutely ludicrous. They're trying to destroy all the European countries and Britain. They're trying to destroy every single bit of it. It's crazy. So now we come over to a BBC news article. French farmers protest, dozens arrested at Rungus food market in Paris. I think I got that name right. I'm not really good with my French words, but let's see what's going on, because this is where it's kicking off now. They're literally on the streets rioting against the government. The French government has warned the disruption at Rungus, a food distribution hub which feeds 12 million people, would cross a red line. About 91 farmers who converged on the market are in custody, police said. Farmers are aiming to stop food deliveries reaching supermarkets in a call for better pay and less red tape. So they're stopping. You see, you have to understand, the supermarkets have still got the supply because they've went to the places that don't have these regulations. So the French farmers are like, well, do you know what? We're going to stop the supply of that food getting in here because yous have put these regulations on us. Yous have inhibited us with any type of growth. We're expected to lower our prices, even though you've made things more expensive, and you want us to sell those products for the same price as what it was before. That this is counterproductive to business. You're trying to cripple us here. So you know what? We're going to take back the country, and they're stopping food supplies getting into France and into Paris, which now the government has cracked down on. They've sent in the riot squad and they've arrested 91 people. But the French farmers are 100% correct. Because why would the French government and the European governments want to inhibit the farmers from actually making a profit? It's because they're trying to cripple France, just like they're trying to cripple Ireland, Britain, and everywhere. In my opinion, this is the massive push for communism, mixed in with the culture war, mixed in with the migration crisis. This is a push for communism. This is the real push for communism. Rungus, located on the southern edge of the capital, is known as the belly of Paris, providing much of the fresh fish, fruit, meat, and vegetables the region consumes each day. Is the second largest market of its kind in the world. So it's a massive market, and the French farmers have a lot to do with it. In anticipation of their arrival, police units with armoured vehicles had been deployed along the A6 motorway to the market, and police checkpoints were set up around the access points. The protesters entered the market storage area and caused damage before they were taken out by security forces, a source told AFP news agency. Paris Police Chief Laurent Nunez said authorities cannot tolerate disturbances to public order, BFM TV reported. Well, they're going to have to tolerate that, because who is creating these disturbances is the people that put food on your table. And the police force need to realize that the government is doing a great injustice to the farmers who keep the French people alive, and a lot of people in Europe alive. So if they're unhappy and they've rose up against this, then there must be something going on. So the authorities of that country need to realize who the real enemy is here. Earlier, 18 people who were trying to blockade Rungus had been arrested for interfering with traffic, police said. But at the same time, you have those whack jobs. You ever see those whack jobs? Those you throw the red paint or the orange paint, threw it over the Mona Lisa the other day. Just stop oil. They're never arrested, and they're doing it all over Europe. Prosecutors said 15 of them were taken into custody. It comes as a convoy of farmers' tractors have been blocking key roads into the French capital, dubbed the Siege of Paris over the past week. So the French have stood up, guys. You can't say that a Frenchman surrenders anymore. They didn't anyway. If you know about World War II, they didn't surrender. They were in World War One. Just it's all very tactfully done. The French are actually warriors, if you know about the French. Ignorant sometimes, but warriors in the same sentence. So the French farmers are exactly right. You can't have a hypocritical government saying, look, we're going to raise the prices of all the agricultural products, but at the same time we want you to sell the products for the same price to the supermarkets. And then for those supermarkets to go, do you know what, we're going to get this from somewhere else, a place that doesn't have those regulations, for the farmers to go, what the fuck, what are you doing? Our government's fallen. They're trying to kill us here, so we have to protest. So what the French farmers are doing at the minute is 100% correct. So if you think there's just a migration crisis here in Ireland and Britain, you would be greatly mistaken. All over Europe and even in the United States, there is places that have been devastated because of this, not because of healthy immigration, which every country needs, but from mostly Democratic and Labour parties allowing in unvetted men that could possibly be a danger to that society. We've already got a societal problem as it is in regards to violence. So why would we allow unvetted people to come in that could be potentially violent? Well, in Germany, Tommy Robinson had his say at a local protest. I don't know when this was. It could have been, I'll read the description just in case it gives a bit of context. But regardless, the crisis is happening all over the world. And now we're going to watch a video from Germany where Tommy Robinson reported on what was happening there. Now, what you're about to witness is, once again, more evidence of media corruption. And you're going to see the good people in Germany just protest like anybody else would, but be dubbed a far-right entity. I've had a quick look over this to see what I'm watching. And yeah, it's once again has very similar traits to how they're treating people are treated in Ireland, in England, in America. And this, for anybody that is sort of left-leaning and you want to see how a narrative can be pushed, stay tuned, because here's the evidence.
It's happening everywhere in Germany.
The reason why this is so... No, it's not. Okay, can I speak to you? Well, you said she's not telling the truth, so answer a question. Okay, I'll do research. It was We're in East Germany, in Cottbus, and this is a massive demonstration. Germany is under attack. The German population are under attack. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen a 15-year-old German girl brutally murdered and raped by Afghani migrants. In this town, we've seen a 16-year-old child have his face slit open by Syrian migrants. The people have had enough, and I think you're witnessing the start of something huge that's going to develop across Germany this summer.
So you would say, with the information that Tommy's given us, with the evidence that this has been put into the newspapers, that the people of Germany have a right to stand up and say what to their government, why are you allowing these people in?
Angela Merkel has invited millions of young Muslim men who come from countries where there are no women's rights. They do not respect women. This is the real Me Too movement.
There were several attacks with knives from young migrants against Germans, but perhaps more important is that the atmosphere has changed. There's an atmosphere of fearing, of feeling unsafe in public space. And that is not a special problem of Cottbus, it's a problem all over the country.
I've spoke to a lot of people off camera. I've spoke to women who are scared to go out at night, but they're also scared to have their face on camera,
right?
Because they're scared of the repercussions,
right,
from violence and from the government and the police.
Right, that's exactly the situations. People feel that the protest is not well accepted by authorities. They fear to lose their jobs.
It's not just like you lose your job. It's also like if your husband is known to have this or that opinion, you can also, the wife can get in trouble, or the other way around.
You've traveled it.
That's communism, folks. What you're witnessing there is communism. And this is why I'm a big advocate against the social credit score, and so should you. I think even far leftists are against the social credit score. In any direction, you should be against a social credit score, because that's what that is. That's a face-to-face social credit score. Well, if your husband has an opinion on something here, you could lose your job. So everybody has to have that. Everybody has to have a similar opinion. That's communism. That's a communist tactic, and you need to know that.
Safe in Candel, where there were demonstrations just 2 weeks ago. Can you tell us what happened in Candel?
Well, there was a young girl. She was stabbed by an Afghan migrant in a supermarket. So
She was murdered.
yes, she was murdered. She was stabbed. Yes.
Can I ask you, as a German woman,
So you have to say this: if that Afghan migrant wasn't in the country, that young girl would still be alive. And you're racist for pointing that out. Oh well, there could be a German person. Yeah, okay. I get that. There's German people that stab each other all the time. There's Irish people that stab each other all the time. There's English people that stab each other all the time, and they're really, really bad people, and they need punished for it. But whenever the facts here, if that person wasn't in that country, then that young girl would still be alive, and she probably wouldn't have been stabbed by a resident of Germany, and likewise in every other country. And to say what I've just said is considered racist in a lot of countries, because that is the narrative they're trying to push. But guess what? Here's the silver lining. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me.
as a lady, how do you feel? How are German women feeling in a minute?
I feel scared. I feel scared for my life, for the lives of my nieces and my nephews, for everyone. And every woman is scared in Germany. I think so, because you cannot tell what's happening next, you know?
Do the media call you names? Do the media say you're racist or you?
Yes, we're racist. We're the brown base of Germany, things like that. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. In the West and East, we have to come together, because it's happening everywhere in
The
Germany.
reason why this is so. No, it's not. Okay, can I speak to you? Can I speak to you? Are you a journalist?
No, but I tell you
Are
that
you a
she's not
journalist?
telling the
Oh, no,
truth.
okay, can I
Yeah,
ask
I'm
you?
journalist.
Okay,
I'm
can I?
from Berlin.
Okay,
No,
so you're from
no,
Berlin.
I just say.
Oh, look, no,
I
she
just
won't
say,
talk. You're a
no.
journalist.
Yeah,
Well, you said she's not telling the
then
truth,
do
so answer a
research.
question.
Do research.
Okay, I'll do research. I was a 16-year-old.
I said
You're a
no.
journalist.
So this is a classic thing that you'll get from the media or far leftists, that they will say, do your research, and then they'll walk away. And what they're looking for is they're looking for a gotcha moment, when in fact that's never going to be a gotcha moment. Having a gotcha moment is coming with cold hard facts. And the cold hard fact about the situation is that if these people weren't in the country in the first place, I'm not talking about the good immigrants, the good refugees, like a vetting process. If there was a vetting process put in, then that person who stabbed that young girl and murdered that young girl or sexually assaulted that young girl probably wouldn't have got into the country, because they would have had a criminal past or a history of sexual assault or aggravated assault or violence. So they wouldn't have been in the country. Now that young girl would still be alive if those procedures were in place. And that's the gotcha moment. And these far leftists or the mainstream media will never debate you on this, because they just want, do your research, but they'll never talk to you, and they'll walk away because they know that you're right. And that's another thing that you need to know. Media language. I learned that throughout the COVID period. I know about media language, and I can't watch the news anymore, because once I learned media language, boom, that was it. I was able to see through all the lies.
You're a journalist. You're a journalist. You're a journalist. You're a journalist. What's wrong with you?
I said no.
What sort of journalist is this?
If I say no,
No, you're a
then it's no.
fascist. You're a fascist.
I'm a fascist.
Yes, you're a fascist. You won't let anyone else have an
I'm a
opinion. Yes,
fascist.
you're a fascist. You are a fascist.
Okay, we
She's
go to the police because you just called me a fascist.
Oh, you want to go to the police? Yeah. You are a fascist. She's going to get the police.
I would have laughed too. You're going to get the police because you call me a fascist. My God, what world are the Germans are? I don't know. The Germans are a little bit behind now. You know, the far left is going to the cops because you called her a fascist. She is a fascist, 100%, and she's a communist too. So you have to understand, she's a communist. Those people love communism. They have read into communism, and they want to be a communist. They want to be that rat that runs to the government to give up their neighbor. They're already implementing stuff here in Ireland, like where the government, I think it's in England and Ireland, where the government can come in and check your cameras, your door cameras, which is a massive breach in in privacy. Like, it's communism, folks. That's what you're witnessing here. Communism.
Look, that lady's not allowed an opinion. She's told you why she's come here. She's scared. She wants to call her a liar. She wants to call her a Nazi. That's the mainstream media. That is the enemy of the people of Europe. Are you all mainstream media? You're all guilty. You are all guilty of what's happening in Europe. You have done this. You have hid the truth, and you label people unfairly as fascists, as Nazis.
Tommy looks about 4 foot there, doesn't he? I thought he was a lot taller than that. Maybe it's just the big Germans dwarfing him.
Nazis as racists. You've all got blood on your hands.
I don't get these people. I mean, they see, are they blind or something? In the mainstream news, you cannot see. They don't show us everything. But if you look out and you inform yourself, yes, you see that every day something's happening right now.
And what do you think of the fact that she wouldn't even talk then?
You cannot talk with them. They're blinded. I don't know.
Excuse me, did you get the piece? Did you get the piece? Excuse me, who was Mia? Who was Mia? Who was Mia? Who was Mia? Can you tell me who Mia was? Can you tell me who Mia was? Okay, I'll tell you who Mia was. Mia was a 15-year-old girl brutally murdered by an Afghani migrant. This lady doesn't want to accept that's happened. So you won't.
Tommy doesn't give a fuck, does he? He'll just jump into the crowd full of mainstream media. But I can answer that for you. They don't care about that young girl because they're rats. You have to understand, in communism, people who push for communism, especially state media and their employees, they are actually rats. And the rats of communism are worse than the dictators themselves, because they want the dictator to be there so they can run to the dictator to get praise. Very good state media. You're doing a very good job. You know, you'll see this in North Korea. Every time you walk in, every time Kim Jong-un walks into the room, they're like NPCs, you know, just clapping their hands as if they're robotic. That's the rats like this media organization here, and the people, the employees, they want the communism. They're pushing for the communism because that gives them a sense of pride. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people think in communism, they're all going to be, you know, resistance, and everybody's going to be making military gear, and it's going to be like a well-oiled machine, while you're probably the poor fucker that's made to plow the field, like something from Nazareth 2,000 years ago. If you've ever watched The Chosen, where Jesus makes put the thing over their back, and they have to plow the field for the person that they don't like, just to teach them a lesson. That's what your job will be. Your job will, or if you're not lucky, and you'll probably be thrown into a gulag. But these stupid fucks don't realize this.
Can you just leave her, please? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Which media company are you from?
It's from RD.
RD. ARD. Is that mainstream media?
Yes, it's mainstream.
Ah, cool. Public. Can I ask you some questions?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
No.
No. Oh, she decided for herself. So, free country. Did you have the footage of him saying, "Don't say anything"? Do you know what I mean? We've got the footage. Look at that, and now he's going.
Where are you from?
I'm from England.
Yeah.
And basically, what I wanted to ask you is, you know, when you describe the people that have turned up here.
What you need to be looking for is not this lady here, right? She's docile because if she had any brains about her, she wouldn't be speaking to Tommy. It's the geezer in the background, right? You've got a guy with a turban on, right? And see this geezer in the background, right? They're probably two nice people. The guy with the turban on, the blonde-haired woman, they're probably two nice people that are just there just for a job. But see that geezer in the background with the glasses, you know, the one who looks like a bit of a Speedo? Yeah, him. Somebody, if you'd seen him in a play park, you'd think to yourself, fuck me, we need to ring the cops here. Yeah, him. This geezer's looking at Tommy right now. I don't know if you can see my mouse. He's looking at Tommy right now, and he's thinking to himself, you know, this motherfucker, like, why, how can he speak like this? Why is he speaking like this? The Britons, they must have the freedom of speech. This cannot happen here. This cannot happen. You know, this motherfucker's looking at him with daggers right now, because that's the communist look. What you're seeing there, the guy with the glasses and the hat, the black hat, that's the communist look. That's every communist that I've ever seen looks like that. Do you know what I mean? That's a pure, proper, full-blown communist.
How will you describe them?
No. First, no.
Okay.
No recording.
Will you call this group of people any labels? Will you call them far right? Yeah, that's a yes. Yes. Okay, so you will call them far right. Say like this lady here.
Yeah.
Can you explain how she's far right?
No, she's normal. She's normal.
She's normal. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about this lady here? What about this lady here? She's normal.
See those grannies? They're all far right. Disgusting, aren't they? Look at that granny there. Yeah, this is we can't deal with this far right anymore. These grannies.
But you'll call that. You'll say it's a far right demonstration.
I never told that.
Well, will you?
told that.
Yeah, because I know you will.
No.
Because I know
I
what
don't
you're
wanna-
like. Because I know what you're going to
I
do.
don't want to not talk to you.
Okay.
No, sorry.
No, you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So as a as a free thinker myself, and as a person who knows their arse from their elbow, and I consider myself to be a rational person in life, if somebody asked me that question, what way are you going to portray these protesters? If I was in the media, I would say, well, just say I was going to portray them as far right. Well, say I disagree with every policy that they have here, and we're here to cover this. But I'm probably going to cover them as far right. Or if I didn't think that way, I would think, well, just say I was neutral. Well, we're just here to see, and we're going to just write down what we see, and we're going to put it in the newspaper or the digital media. And yeah, that's it. I think people would appreciate that. But the fact that she isn't answering the question properly is an indication that she knows that they're recording this and they're going to lie about the protest.
You know, there is going to come a turning point when there's going to come a turning point where it's already starting, where all of the public turn on you guys. Everyone's going to turn on you guys. No one trusts you anymore. So, you know, like when you report on this today, when the media report on it, how will you describe the crowd of people? Yeah. Well, what because I'm trying to understand what's going on here. Will they be described as far right? Are they far right? Is it racist?
I think we definitely, within Deutsche Welle, we're calling the people from the AFD, it's a far right.
You're calling okay.
You know, all
Another very communist looking person, I have to say. See this lady here? That's the look of a feminine communism now. The classic red coat, not much makeup, doesn't really do much with her hair. That's the geezer. No, he's got a different hat on. But look, do you see what I mean? He's got a different, it's a similar looking geezer, right? It's a similar looking geezer, but he's got a white hat on. Do you see they've all got the same sort of communist look? That's the way communists dress. And she's the female version of that. I can't help but notice this. Call me a whack job or schizophrenic, but every time I'm watching footage of active communists, they all dress the exact same. It's like she's afraid of buying makeup just in case it was tested on monkeys or something, you know?
right-wing extremists,
Okay.
but they are far right. Well, the way the solutions they're looking for is rather to stop the migration policy that we're having right now.
And that makes them.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a far right view there, isn't it? You know, stop the people coming in that are stabbing and raping people in the streets. That's a far right view. This is the world that we're living in. You see, it's not a far right view, but if you're on the extreme left, like this lady here, or indoctrinated into the extreme left, any idea that veers away from this extreme left, even if it's center, even if it's just a rational thought, will be considered far right. That's actually just it's an after effect of being involved with the far left, the extreme left.
Far right, because all I see the AFD saying is that we need, like with the current migration program, you've seen terrorists enter the country, you've seen rapists enter the country, you've seen murderers enter the country. So I see the AFD want to stop that, but does that make them far right?
It doesn't make them far right that they
What
have
that-
to stop. If crime is happening,
So what-
if
what-
crime is happening, Germany has to act, of course.
What
When
do-
we
what-
have
what-
laws.
Anyway, thanks for talking to us because we need to get back. Thank you.
What are you doing with this?
What we're doing with it. This is just for my social media.
Yeah, I want to.
It'll be on.
I don't
It'll be
want
under
it to
top.
be recorded. I just wanted to delete it.
You want me to delete our interview?
Yeah, because I can't speak that well. Hello.
Speaking quite well.
No, sorry.
no.
I think I didn't.
That's fine.
No,
Okay.
Please.
No, that's fine. Okay.
No, this is not okay.
Are
What
you-
you're doing is not okay.
No, what? Not
You're
what I'm.
filming and I'm not allowing it.
Not what I'm doing. I tell you, all I want to do, which is what I have done, is expose that people label people as far right with no evidence. Hi lads. Are you mainstream media? Are you guys from the mainstream media? What's
What is mainstream media for you?
What company is this?
It's Scientific.
What's that?
It's RTL.
Oh, RTL.
Yes.
You know, like this demonstration, the demonstration today. Will you report that as being? How will you report that? How will you report the group of people? When you do your report, will you say it's a far right demonstration?
I wouldn't say anything in front of this camera now.
Why not?
Why not just admit to it? What was that problems with the lady being recorded? Sure, she's recording the protesters. These far leftists, these extreme leftists, because they're not even far left, they're extreme left. They're so extreme left that's why he's calling them fascists, because they're so left. They've went a full circle and have became basically far right themselves. It's so fucking weird that these people want to portray protesters as far right and as big bad bigots and racists and all the rest. But when the cameras turned on them and they are questioned on their ideology and what their thinking is, they start throwing their dummies out of the pram. And that is a clear sign of corruption. A normal person would just answer the question.
Because I'm the person who is a journalist and I don't want to be interviewed now.
But you're a journalist, mate. You're a journalist. You interview people. You're a journalist. What's wrong? What are you scared of? What is wrong with these people, man? You're journalists, guys. You just know you're going to get exposed, man.
That's the end of the show. Number 15 done. I'm enjoying these wee shows. If you enjoy them, make sure to smash the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would appreciate it if you could jump over to my X and my Rumble and follow me on both of those platforms. It's all free, just like YouTube. X, formerly known as Twitter. It's brilliant, guys. Total freedom of speech. Elon Musk owns it, and you can say whatever you want on there. So if you want my complete uncensored opinion, make sure you jump over there. And the same with my Rumble. Use the handles either on the screen or in the description. That will take you over to my X and my Rumble. Now, if you are watching this on X or Rumble, make sure you head over to my YouTube channel and let's fight against censorship. My other channel, Holden Official, my main channel, which I had thousands of subscriptions on, it was deleted on me. I worked very, very hard to get it, and they just deleted on me like that. So if you want to fight against censorship, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Stray Cabbage, all lowercase. I'll leave the handle on the screen. For my Rumble, it's just Holden Official. You don't get a handle. But yeah, that's it, guys. Crazy times. I hope you enjoyed the 3 topics we spoke about today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Peace.